Hello everybody, my name is That Joe Guy, and welcome back to Dragon Quest. Welcome to my corner of contemplation. When are we back end of the level here? Interesting sort of area. Couple couches, a sofa. Never would have needed to pay for a mansion in Hightown. Could have just set it all up here. Nobody's using this spot. So here we are where we left off last time. We pick up this session properly. Our journey without Bethany. It's been 3 years since the Deep Roads expedition in which she has died. And you know, after it happened, we would have grieved and mourned and been messed for a very long time. 3 years later, though, we're now largely back to who we are and who we became after the expedition, and have sort of, you know, I don't want to say moved on exactly, because if somebody's important enough to you, you never truly forget them. But you still move on with your life, and that is what Iain has done. Which is why, you know, you won't see me as Iain here. You won't see him portraying anybody who's particularly bummed out. I mean, there's a certain sadness to him, but there's a certain sadness to me now as well, and that just reflects that. But I've taken some time away from this game as a player after Bethany's death to sort of honestly do my own little mourn, because I was really sad after the last episode of Dragon Age 2 ended, and whilst the game saw fit to skip ahead 2 years pretty much immediately, which I don't really fault it for, would have been nice to get some sort of scene of the funeral, but I also understand why they wanted to sort of move on. It was, you know, it was 3 years and we're on to something else. We've been living our life here for 3 years doing whatever, and now the hour shot calls upon us. And we're going to get on, well, maybe not that today, but there's a certain amount of catch-up I want to do. I want to see how my party's doing, have a few quests sort of in companions. I want to go home, maybe first of all, see how Mum's doing. I'm worried about her. I don't know how she'll be even 3 years on after Bethany's death. Carver messed her up, and this, I don't know. And I don't know if she would have even forgiven me, so we'll have to see about that. The thing I want to talk about, at the end of the last session, yeah, thanks, bro. I was obviously speaking a lot about Bethany's death and what that means for Iain sort of going forward. But I want to talk a little bit more about the death from a game perspective, so hope you don't mind. It's a major sort of story moment, and I don't want to break immersion too hard by sort of like thinking about it entirely in game terms. If that bothers you, I'm sorry, but I think it is worth discussing, because it's a very interesting thing what they did there, and potentially controversial. So, Bethany died, obviously. Now, let's see. Bethany was one of the main draws in terms of your plot. Well, not necessarily. You may well have just been looking out for yourself, but for me she was. Needing some money, somebody to get behind so that we couldn't get extorted or sold out, because we were in a vulnerable position with her being an apostate and people knowing that she was an apostate. That was said in the dialogue in this game as a reason that we could potentially be doing this. And it was the main reason that I picked up the quest in the first place. You know, I want to earn that money, get that safety. And then it all went for moot. So Bethany being such an important thing, you know, I had a list in my head of things I want to say here, and I'm now like, oh god, structure, conversational structure, and I can't. Yeah, sorry if this comes out kind of a mess. I maybe should have wrote stuff down, but yeah, see the reason for that wee cut there, for example, is because I'm not entirely sure how I want to frame these things, and I'm sort of tripping over myself. So let's just start at the beginning. Let's start where we made the choice, whether to bring Bethany down to the Deep Roads or to not. Now, I have not done any research into that choice or anything like that. I have had a conversation with somebody who's played this game, who informed me that, yes, that choice does have an effect, although they didn't sort of go on to outline what those effects were. But it does seem possible that, based on the decision that you make, Bethany can survive. Now, I don't know what form that's going to take. I suspect the choice that it was making there, I suspect that something was going to happen to Bethany. I think that was what it was leading up for. Given the nature of the choice, I personally suspect that if I'd left her here, she would have been captured by the Templars, and I mean, is that survival? She's an apostate. Would she have been made tranquil? Or she's expressed, the idea of maybe going into the circle like herself. Maybe sometimes that would be easier, so maybe she would have just become part of the circle, which would have, she still wouldn't have been with me, but that would have been a better ending. Or maybe she would have been fine, I don't know. And I think it's hard to look back on that choice and go, oh, well, I should have seen that coming. It's hard for me to say that that is a fair thing to be doing, because, okay, just before I left, I was planning all along to take Bethany with me, and the game said, whoa, you sure? Because that's what happened by sort of mum coming along and asking me that. And I was like, whoa, you heard me at the time. I was like, wait, now what? Why? What the hell's going on here? And the choice was, her survival. It was down to that at that very moment. But the game still didn't give you much to do. It just said, hey, this decision is important. Are you sure you want to bring Bethany? And yeah, okay, in retrospect, you could see that as a hint that bringing her along would get her harmed or killed or something like that. You could even say... But you could also say that what if they were trying to wrongfoot you? What if bringing her along was the right choice, and then leaving her here, you would have just felt sort of similarly cheated by the game and said, oh man, the game saying that made me want to leave her behind, and I left her behind and she got captured or made tranquil or whatever. Yeah, so my point is, I think that what the game was trying to do there was to let you know that you were making a decision, make you scared of the decision that you made, especially with the foreshadowing that came right after. Again, I don't know if the same foreshadowing takes place if you leave her behind. But yeah, after that, I mean, I was so terrified, genuinely. I was really, really apprehensive, and it came to be what I feared came to be. But what I really wanted to do, it didn't want to give you all the facts to make that choice. It was forcing... The game knew, because the way it presented that choice and how little information it gave, it knew it was forcing you into an uncomfortable situation. And that whatever decision that you make, possibly you would come to regret. Either, at first or later down the line or whatever. It's just what I suspect. From the way that it was presenting itself and from sort of the limited discussion which I had. And that's not a straight A to B consequence. That's the game saying your choices may have unintended side effects, or even just straight up consequences that might completely backfire on you. Be careful, but even when you do be careful, you can't necessarily control everything. I think that's more or less it. This is compounded by the fact that as soon as we took Bethany, she was doomed to die. There was no choice or anything like that. There was no demon we were fighting, and the choice came to, get the treasure or save Bethany. Nothing. That was the single choice I made got her killed, and it wasn't really. I'm gonna say fair, but I mean not unfair for the game to put on me, but fair in universe for the game. I just realized, by the way, I'm 11 minutes in, I'm still talking about this. Sorry, this is going to go on for a little bit longer. I hope you guys don't mind me talking about this stuff. It is something I'm interested in, something I want to address before the game carries on and before I do anything else in this sort of Kirkwall 3 years on. And yeah, so yes, there was no dramatic sacrifice. It was literally, we put her near Darkspawn. She got some blood in her somehow, despite the fact that I am far more close to Darkspawn on a regular basis, and here I am fine. It was meant to be like bad luck. It was meant to be without our control. Now, the fact that it was Darkspawn Blight in particular is something sort of interesting as well. And if people were attached to Bethany, I can imagine them getting angry at the game for this, because Dragon Age has never done that to your companions. If you think about Dragon Age Origins, some people died to the Blight. That would happen all around, but it was something which happened to NPCs. It was something which happened to other people. In universe, we never ever needed to worry about that. There were no precautions that the game allowed you to take. There were no potions or resistances that you could build up. It was all a narrative device to say, hey, this NPC's gonna die because he was unlucky and because the story says that they're gonna die. So there really was no precautions that we could ever have taken. And once again, the game saying, hey, shit's gonna happen. It's not all within your control. But yeah, like the game bit you there. It bit you really hard, and it didn't really give you a fair chance to defend against it. So that's why maybe some people would be annoyed at that turn of the story. And actually thinking about it, that was more or less the main thing I wanted to say. Just that it was interesting to kill Bethany that method of all ways. Man, I felt terrible. I felt so bad. So I knew it was a bad death. And I'm worried about what's going to happen in the future, how that's going to affect Mother and how that's going to affect everything. It appears that this game is diverging quite a bit based on the choices that you make. There are a lot of setup choices in the first act, and now I'm looking back on every single one going, what if this, what if that, what if the worst should come to pass for every single bad decision that I made. But that is what this game is about. So before we move on, before we start our lives in Act 2, there is one more thing I want to say to you, the audience. Now, the episode hasn't gone out yet, as I'm recording this at the moment. In fact, I'm like something ridiculous. I'm like 20 episodes ahead in my recording of where I actually am in sort of like the YouTube schedule release. So I haven't seen anybody's reaction, and I will admit I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous because there is going to be, or was from your perspective, some gaps in the episodes between when you realised that I'd chosen Bethany to come with me into the Deep Roads and when she died. And for that sort of like couple episode span, you will know what's coming. And it's going to be tense. And I'm not sure how people are going to react to it, whether they're going to react negatively to it, saying like, I know most people are going to be cool with it. I know most people are going to be fine, but there are going to be some people who say, how could you? That's just a probable thing which is going to happen. I would ask you, as audience, to take a second. Not that sort of thing actually bothers me at all, but I think for your enjoyment of the Let's Play, take a second and realise that having those consequences happen to you unexpectedly, making those decisions where you cannot necessarily see all ends, is a part of this game. It's a part of this game's theme. So if you are watching this Let's Play hoping upon hope that I won't make certain choices, or are going to get dismayed and angry, obviously, like, you're meant to be dismayed by this turn in the story. That's not what I meant. I meant just like frustrated is probably a better word for it. Frustrated at some of the decisions I make because you know what's coming next. The game isn't about that. I would advise you to just take it as it comes. Whatever story unfolds, despite what deep regrets that we have, and yes, I deeply regret not adhering to Mum's request. Mum's fairly reasonable request to leave Bethany behind. I do regret that. I regret that deeply. The day or so after, man, it was hard knowing that I could go back and like I could see the game without that thing being done, just to, see her live past that. But that's one of the reasons I'm recording this for the first time, for it to be the fresh story all the way through for the first time. Iain's story, all the triumphs, all the mistakes, no matter how big or small in this run. And that's what this is about. Anyway, let's get started today. Thanks for listening for that. That lasted about 15 minutes. If you stuck around for it, I really appreciate it, and thanks for your patience. Okay, let's get going. We're 3 years later. We have stuff to do. We have catch-ups to do. I wonder to what extent I have been visiting my companions in the interim. I imagine there must have been contact, right? I'm also noticing Meryl's not here. I wonder why that is. Why have I got no mission for Meryl? I'm interested in her. Well, let's get this over with. This is one of the things I'm worried about. The Amel's Hightown Mansion has been restored. Boden suggests returning there as soon as possible. Let's go. Let's go. I will admit I'm nervous about this. I don't know how Mum would have been heartbroken, completely heartbroken, and it would be hard for her, very hard for her not to blame me, especially since we saw a seed in her previously, an inclination of blaming of her. Just for a second, she blamed me for Carver's death. When Carver died, she said, "How could you let him run off like that? Your own brother." And then, she's...
There's been so much trouble in Kirkwall of late.
Give me a fright for some reason. As there... Okay, don't worry, I'm on it. Yeah. And then she never mentioned it again, and people say things in anger. I don't hold that against her, nor do I think that's the opinion she at least, at the very least, wanted to hold. But that spark of an idea was there, and that could...
I hope the Qunari never move into Hightown.
And that, thanks. You can get much more of a generic response to the situation than that. I do hope so. Oh, I hope so too. So let's see. Let's see exactly how that unfolds. Oh boy. I mean, I'm prepared for it if that's the way it is. But still. Hey, Mum. Well, not too shabby. Put on a sandal there. Oh, this could work. This is nice. Is that me? Oh shit, it's me! Hey! Hey, Aveline.
You've settled in nicely.
It's just luck. And skill.
Indeed. Still, more coin never hurts, right?
Yeah, right.
Say, if someone wanted to pass some work your way...
Everybody needs something. Sure, you can always ask me.
I'm listening, Aveline. What's the trouble?
A thorn in my side, inventing trouble and scaring people. Remember Emmerich, the Templar? He wants your help, and some sort of official sanction.
Alright.
Official sanction?
For his investigation.
What?
He's convinced that every random murder in the past few years is connected, and he won't be quiet.
Sorry, Emmerich? The Templar? Shit, who is Emmerich? We had, Farkas, right? No, Thrask. He was a Templar. He was a good Templar. Who is Emmerich? Oh, yeah. Scruffy. Yeah, I just Google image searched him. That's immersion breaking. Have you seen this new technology? Whatever the hell your name is, Aveline. It's amazing. Right, Emmerich, yes. Scruffy, handsome Templar. I remember him. He's convinced that every random murder in the past few years is connected. And he won't be quiet. He might not be on for... He might be on something, you know.
You don't think it's worth investigating?
I have. He even convinced one of my lieutenants to raid the Dupuis mansion. Nothing there.
Alright.
You wouldn't believe how much ass I had to kiss after that. Bloody hobbyist constable. Why can't he spend his declining years building a boat or something?
There was something. There was definitely a serial killer along the way. Like, are you sure? Because I'm not.
Seems like it should be easy to prove if there are bodies.
Kirkwall isn't the safest place. That doesn't mean everything terrible is related. There's no sense to that. Can't be.
He had a good start, you know.
I seem to recall he had some good leads.
Then you won't mind chasing his threads. If it leads somewhere, I'll pick it up. Right now, he's just distracting my men.
Right.
He's in the gallows. Do what you can. Thanks, Hawke. I'll try not to make a habit of this.
No problem, Aveline. I see a friendly face. Writer's desk. Well, first of all, one of the things I want to do... Can I, What am I wearing? Oh, I'm wearing my armor, but whilst in here I change into clothes. That is awesome. Well, let's retrieve this. Where is it? Okay, good. Helm of the Fallen. There. Now we are complete. Don't we look awesome? Hello.
It's strange living here again. My childhood home.
Hmm.
Now owned by my child. It's not something I could have imagined when I was a little girl staring out this window. I'm still grateful you used your money from the expedition to buy back the estate. I feel like an Amel again.
An Amel. I know you're a Hawke. But I understand what you mean.
Just don't go all pompous on me, all right?
I promise. If there's one thing I learned in Ferelden, it's that good people can be born in a hut as easily as a palace. Honestly, after so many years as a peasant's wife, it feels strange to have nothing to do.
Yeah?
But I can't spend the rest of my life mourning Bethany and Carver. They're gone, and I can't bring them back.
I know.
I guess I just need to start finding you a suitable wife.
What? I am working on that, Mother. I think you'll like her. She's a blood mage.
I like the doggy.
Yay. Bark? Bark.
Ruff, ruff, ruff. Ruff, 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 ruff.
It looks like they're having a nice chat. Maybe Sandal picked up some Mabari speak from our time at the Hero of Ferelden's camp.
Never saw them interact. They were all the way across the camp from each other. Hey, boy. Girl, sorry. Bark, bark. Mom, I'm glad to see you smiling and enjoying this here. Like, that really warms my heart.
I've been wondering if I shouldn't remarry. I'm sure the last thing you need is your mother watching over your shoulder every time you come home. But perhaps there is still life once your children have outgrown you.
You want to remarry? I do want you to be happy. Like, I really, really do.
You've been through a lot. You deserve any joy you can find.
Thank you, love. No one could ever replace your father. But it is refreshing to think I could still be courted at this age.
Yeah, I mean, all the best, right? Just don't let them steal my inheritance. I have enough side plots going along, thank you very much. I'll check that in a second. So I have you guys around, huh? I'm actually really okay with this. Rescuing Sandal and Bodan saying, I'll repay you and this is how you repay me? Do you know what? As a nice sort of like comforting thing which crosses the games, I'm actually really on board with this.
If you need any enchantments, I'm sure my boy would be happy to help.
Enchantment.
Just so.
I saw something nasty in the woodshed.
Must have been wood.
I can make it for you.
The hell is this? Born Lord Remy Vascallan, 863 Blessed, the Black Fox was a dashing thief and rogue who went on to inspire so many tales of his exploits that it is nearly impossible to determine today which are true and which are merely fabricated legend. Despite coming from nobility, he has become something of a hero of the common people. Alright. What was he called again? The Black Fox. Okay. His initial exploits involved ridiculing the tyrannical and powerful Lord of Valchevin. Wearing a mask, he would appear in public and disrupt the Lord's plan to the point that the Lord angrily put a huge bounty on the life of this cunning fox, the origin of the nickname which stuck. That the primary bounty hunter who took the job, Carolus, ended up becoming Remy's lifelong partner in crime, only after nearly killing him several times, is one of the most popular tales told in taverns today. The story is often exaggerated to make Remy appear initially buffoonish, until Carolus becomes so furious at the Black Fox's inexplicable ability to survive, that the cunning Remy gains the upper hand. Sorry, let me refresh myself on the... so it is Remy. So Remy being... Oh, appear initially buffoonish. That makes sense. Okay, I thought that was like the narrative arc. Started out an idiot and became really smart, which impresses Carolus so much that the bounty hunter joins him. After years of terrorizing the Lord's men and foiling his tax collectors, favourite pastime of Remy's according to the Orlesian commoners, Remy was supposedly betrayed by his lover Servana de Montfort, in some versions of the tale a Mage of the Circle no less, and captured. After more than a year of torture, Remy was rescued from prison by his companions, including a repentant Servana, and together they escaped Orlais. In this period of Remy's adventures, he appears almost everywhere in Thedas. As his legend grew, more innkeepers and merchants were happy to claim that the Black Fox had visited their village or establishment and performed some legendary feat. If the tales are to be believed, Remy led the Lord's men on a merry chase. He became embroiled in a political intrigue in Navarre, was hunted by the crows of Antiva, and then kidnapped by a powerful mage in Tevinter. In each situation, Remy escaped death at the last moment, foiled the evildoer, and improved life for the poor and downtrodden. Then, inevitably, he rejoined his band of adventurers and moved on to the next land. His companions Carolus and Servana, the wise dwarf Bolik, and the tempestuous knight Sir Clementis have each spawned their own individual legends over the years. The stories all agree that, at some point, Robin Hood disappeared. He and his fellow adventurers voyaged into the heart of the Arlathan forest, seeking the sunken city of the elves, and never returned. Many more are the tales that expand on what ultimately happened to them in that forest, and postulate on how they could someday be rescued. Cool. Well, that was kind of out of nowhere. So where's your goods boat? Yeah, you heard me there, by the way. I don't know enough about the story of Robin Hood to know if that's like a direct translation. But yeah, some of them rang pretty true, and like half the time I was like, is this a parody, a spoof, or is this just its own thing? I don't know. Whatever. What I notice here is that Bodan doesn't have any wares. Maybe that's because we're in Hightown and we're like so close to a market that in this story his role is shifted from that of like trader to literal manservant. How strange.
Good to see you again, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
A letter arrived for you. It's on the desk. That's where I'll put messages which come while you're out.
Cool. Let's see. Examine.
That dog. Well, maybe chew marks add character to the piece.
Okay. It's a bench, dude. Latest calendar. Oh, yeah. You guys can read that if you like. Pretty decent handle on the way the calendar works as far as I know. Yeah, it's just like 100 years per age, but yeah, I've actually read this back in Dragon Age Origins, so if you want, there it is. And that you can read that. The problem I have with the calendar in Dragon Age and what I would really like a codex entry for is like a list of the ages in which order, because they're not alphabetical or anything. The names are chosen pretty much randomly based on current events at near the end of the previous age. Right, let's read. Oh my life. Alright, okay. Let me see. Greetings, I hope this letter finds you well. I've often thought of you in these past 3 years. Without your kindness, my Fenriel would have long since sold to slavers. Instead, he has thrived and begun to master his magic, but now his nightmares have caught up with him and neither the Keeper nor the First Enchanter knows how to help. I don't know where else to turn. Please come to my home in the alienage. I will be waiting to speak with you. Thank you again for the compassion you've shown Fenriel in the past. So he progressed and it looks like it's back now. Okay. That's fine. We maybe saw this coming when we took the slightly less safe option. Whatever comes, what may of it. I mean, that's one of the primary decisions I thought about. When I was kind of going through my wee freak out of like, if something so bad can come of such a decision such as this, for Bethany, then what else may I have inadvertently set in motion which will sink the lives of many or even this whole city? I don't know. I can only try and do my best, and for this one in particular, I knew I was choosing the less safe option in favour of freedom. I guess we'll just see. Last of his line, Hawke. I do not know if you remember me, but you helped me deal with the Carta a few years ago. Yeah, it's Harriman. Given the generally disreputable characters in Kirkwall, I had all but given up hope, and I swore I would reward you properly. Take these coins in the enclosed package. My men and I are preparing to leave Vervain before King Balin's assassins catch up with us again. If the stone favours us, we'll find Kalsharok in safety soon. If the Harrimans survive this dark time, your name and deeds will be recorded in the memories. Well, that's nice. Nice to get a bit of payback from a good deed earlier done. Speaking of the stone, there was a codex entry about rock wraiths and what they were, and essentially it seems the line, I believe, was a dwarven spirit so foul it was rejected by the stone itself and so could never return to the stone. So it festered and inhabited rocks and became rock wraiths, essentially. Oh yeah, I still need to give Meryl a staff because I took hers away. I need to keep a better eye on that last time. That fight lasted way too long. Again, thank you for your patience if you dealt with that. The Underground Railroad. Ooh, what's an emotive title. Many people in the city owe you their lives, and I am one of them. When my friends and I were cornered by Templars, you helped us escape. Over the years, most Starkhaven apostates have been captured, but thanks to the help of many people, I have remained free. You've done so much for the apostates. If you are moved to do more, contact Mistress Selby near the docks. She knows of many ways you could save more lives. Do you know, I feel like something has changed with mages now that I don't have a particular mage of my own to protect. I mean, I have Anders and I have Meryl, but they're not my responsibility in the same way that Bethany was, in my mind anyway. Not yet anyway, so I guess we'll just see. Again, this whole game is going to be me working out. I may only actually make up my mind as to what to do in the last few minutes of this damn game. Forbidden knowledge. Iain Hawke. Years past, I fell into wickedness and was swept up in the mad ambitions of the blood mage Tyrone. You spared my life at the Blooming Rose, and for many months I wished you had killed me. Oh yeah, I remember her. But I found the Maker's Light in my deepest despair, and now seek absolution. Tyrone wrote many tomes containing dark secrets she learned from the Fade. She protected them when demons forged into their very bindings. You must find and destroy these tombs, lest others follow her dark path. I wish I could help you, but the Templars never let me leave my cell. I can only send my prayers. Okay, that's a good tip. Thank you, Iduna. Didn't expect a payback like that from her. I actually thought the Templars would kill her, and it was just like down to who did the deed. Interesting. Okay, from Fainrail. Life with the Dalish hasn't been easy. Keeper Marathari tries her best, but I don't know what else she can do for me. So links to this up here. The younger elves won't accept me, and I often hear them whispering behind my back. The elders have more discretion, but I can see it in their eyes. They're afraid of me. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Sometimes it feels like you're the only person I can trust. For 3 years to have passed, and for him to not found any connection with anybody else up there, that's rough. We have to do something about that. Flag flying at half-mast? Does your soldier not stand to attention? Does your dwarf shy away from the deep roads? Who would call it their dwarf? Come to the Jorman's apothecary and ask for our special sauce. Our special sauce is infused with the essences of 52 herbs. It's completely natural, completely safe, and absolutely effective. You will never feel the same again. Be the man other men want to be. Be the man you deserve to be. Except... Iain Hawke. I'm not familiar with the difference between the titles. Sarah, Messer. I mean, is it Mr. and Sir? Is that it? And it's really only a semantic difference, or is there different times depending on the person who's referring to me? Iain Hawke, I feel I must apologise. You did what you had to when you turned Kelder over to the guards. You saved my daughter, and I should have been more thankful. Lisa has been difficult. We left Kirkwall behind. But my poor girl now thinks every man is a monster in disguise. I fear she may never get past this. Elrit, no way! Understanding from him, I never expected that. The reason I snapped out of him was out of anger. I don't think I really ever explained that. I think it was obvious, but if you remember, yeah, Kelder Elrond rescued his daughter from Kelder, that child killer, who I really wish I'd killed. Yeah. And I was feeling conflicted about it and regretful, and he marched over to me and he accused me of sparing him because he was human, and I was valuing his life more than his daughter's, and to have everything that I was feeling about that situation simplified into racism and then being accused as such made me angry, so that's why I snapped at him. Thank you. A strangely official looking letter. Alright. Okay. Dear Sir and Madam, I am Lord Akeem Falk of Starkhaven. I have faith in the Maker and Andraste, his beloved prophet, that I must bring this matter of urgent business to you. Why do I feel like I already know this is going? Years ago, I served the office of Seneschal to the royal family of Starkhaven. Sadly, they have been deposed, ousted by a foul usurper. I represent his Royal Highness Prince Corbinian Vale, true heir of the throne, and with your help, Maker willing, we will see him wear the crown of Starkhaven once more. His Highness had a fortune of 11,000 sovereigns locked away at the vaults of the Royal Bank of Antiva. With access to this fortune, he can raise an army to retake the throne, but it is too dangerous for His Highness to simply withdraw the funds himself. This is where we require your assistance and discretion. Simply send me the details of an open bank account in Kirkwall, and I will arrange that the funds are transferred to you. My king will then contact you to retrieve his fortune, leaving you with a hefty award. I must warn you, the Antevans will not consider the account viable if it contains less than 100 sovereigns. Please observe the utmost confidentiality. Read. Oh, I never noticed the difference between read and accept there. I'm getting a bunch of quests from this, I suspect. Hawke, heard you lot got to the free marches. Don't know why you'd bother, but I suppose it's better than our lay. They got spiders up there, big ones. Couldn't swing a dead cat around here without hitting a giant spider. But the blight drove them off. Maker, dark days ahead. Mark my words, a man can't even cover his blighted land with poisonous traps. I remember him now. Thanks for that. I wouldn't remember Justin by name alone. Oh, old Barlin, you crazy cook. Well, but he still doesn't have food to sell. A note addressed to Gamlin. Gamlin Amel. Payment is now 2 months late, sirrah. Interest accrues, as you are well aware. You will find yourself barred from our establishments unless payment is made. Think no better. This was the exact same letter we got 2 years ago. From Gallard. I think it may have even been the same thing. Oh, Leandra. I hope you and the children are holding up. I'm so sorry about Carver. I remember the dear boy helping me trap rats in the cellar. The blight has taken too much from us. Thank the Maker for the hero of Ferelden and the Grey Wardens. Things are slowly getting back to normal in most parts of the country, but Lothering is gone for good. We'd hoped to rebuild there, but the blight poisoned the land. It'll take decades for the earth to recover. It may never. Redcliffe is a nice place, but I'm starting to see it as home. The village saw some trouble during the blight, but it's recovering. Perhaps you could visit sometime. Please write me again, my dear. I wish to hear about your life in Kirkwall. Send my regrets and fond regards to the child, at this point. Miriam, again, maybe an NPC we met back in Redcliffe during the blight. She would have been there, at least, if not out in the battle, then in the church. Yeah.
Which Bodan would clean the fireplace. Says it reminds him of a mine shaft.
Bodan, you're literally my servant. That's really interesting. Oh well. I will do my damnedest to be a nice employer.
Is that Isabella? Who carves that into a stairwell?
Isabella? Why? Has she robbed me? Maybe. How long has it been since I saw her? Oh wow, this place goes on a bit. What's up here? Oh yeah, the legacy. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this will be the chapter I do it, right? Let's examine.
Didn't Fenris say all Tevinter wine is made from the blood and tears of slaves? I hope he was exaggerating.
I hope so too.
I'm proud of you. Love, Mother.
Really?
Sorry, I was expecting treasure, not spiders. Get well soon. Love, Isabella. Why do I let her drag me into these things?
Okay, it looks like we have been up to some stuff.
I'm proud of you. Love, Mother.
Isabella. Interesting. Why her?
Ah, this statue. Wait, where did I get this statue?
What the bloody hell is it? It's a weird mark is what it is.
Fenris hates that statue. Says it reminds him of the old god relics they had in Tevinter.
Dunno. See, now these fit in a bit better, don't they? Jeez. In Gamlen's house, what the hell were they doing? Hey Gamlen, I know you're having monetary problems and everything, but do please not sell the, several thousand sovereigns worth of aesthetic gold in the other room. It's probably weighing down the floorboards. If we'd lived there for any longer, then it would have just collapsed.
Handprints? Was someone swinging on the chandelier? Sandal.
Oh. I mean, in fairness, Isabella as well, I would have agreed with that. Someone can do whatever he likes as long as it doesn't break anything. Come on, I can examine it.
Handprints?
Ah.
Was someone swinging on the chandelier? Sandal.
I'm swinging on a lamppost on the corner of the street in case a certain little lady comes by. So this is my room, huh?
Poor Prince. I told him to stay off the bed. Poor Prince. I told him to stay off the bed. What's this? Ah, Anders' manifesto. Again.
What would that even mean?
I see Varric's taken it upon himself to add certain embellishments to my journal. Crude drawings in the margins. Isabella, grow up.
Okay.
Crude drawings in the margins. Isabella, grow up.
This is awesome. Just finery. It's just finery. So, that's... Well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't change. We'll wear it outside. It's... With everything here, just wandering around, the fireplaces in every single room unattended next to rugs. I'm sure that's fine. The examinations that happen, talking about how your companions may have done one thing or another, like they'd been visiting, Rona being around, Mother being, you know, smiling and wanting to move on and not mourn, and maybe even find somebody else to, like, love. This actually feels like home. Awesome.
Everything that's left of my life in Lothering. Isabella seemed disappointed that she didn't find anything worth gossiping about. Snoop. Isabella seemed disappointed that she didn't find anything worth gossiping about. Snoop.
Why do I keep talking about Isabella? Ian, are you been visiting with her?
That's Mother's room. I shouldn't intrude.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Where's Gamlen? Gamlen, you eyeing up the gold? Oh, books.
Leather to feather. Crossroads of form. Don't even know where to start. Leather to feather. Crossroads of form. Don't even know where to start.
That happens with some books. There's a particular saga, which is terrible at that stuff. Like, why don't books... I mean, okay, a lot of them do, but why don't sagas label themselves clearly anymore? Some sagas just go by their titles and expect you to, like, Google what order you're meant to read them in. I'm assuming that was what that was in reference to. So, we're done. In there. Where's Gamlen? He's got to be here somewhere. A letter was addressed to him. Yeah, you see my character model get replaced there? That was good. Bye bye, Bethany. Evelyn's looking badass though. Everybody else is looking pretty much the same. I mean, we have stuff to do. But let's just pick up where we are at the moment.